My name is Jarrett and I'm with ATG Sports. And today we're here to show you how to properly infill your baseball field, starting with the pitcher's mound. A couple items you'll need here today is a dog groomer and a plastic rake. The dog groomer, when your turf is really matted down, this is an quick and easy way to fold up your fibers, and also a rake. The more you get them standing up, the easier it's going to be for you to go ahead and get your rubber to fall down to the turf and then all the way down to the backing. First thing you want to do with the pitcher's mound is check directly in front of the rubber and in a landing spot. We're going to start with this front of the rubber. Now use my hand to go ahead and see how low we really are, which we're extremely low right here. And this is a constant area that just gets shoveled and shoveled with their steel cleats. So we want to go ahead and dress it up all around the 2 foot and a good foot in front of the rubber too. First thing I'll do, I'll use my hands to go ahead and work it into the turf. And you'll notice as I'm going through this, the rubber is going to slowly disappear, knowing that it was extremely low and that did not have any in there. And the more my hand falls down, the more I know that the rubber is not worked all the way into the backing. It's very crucial to make sure you really work that rubber in. You can't just go ahead and take a handful, lay it on top, and call it good. You really take that rake or the dog groomer to work it down into the back of the turf. And also being right in front of the rubber where those kids constantly have their steel cleats, don't be afraid to add a bunch of rubber. Once you get it worked in, go ahead and dress some up on the top layer as well. And if you do not see any fibers, you have so much rubber in here you don't see fibers, that is perfectly fine. I'd rather have too much rubber on these pitcher's mounds than not enough. Now we're going to go ahead and move forward to the landing area. You can tell right here, it's similar to the way it was up top where all the rubber is being dispensed outward as their feet come downward onto the turf. It is extremely low right here. You can see how far my hands drop down. There's none actually in this spot right here. This is prime that when there's no rubber, the steel cleats dig all the way to the backing of the turf and can cause it potentially to rip. We want to go ahead and infill that and protect it. Once you go ahead and have the rubber worked into the turf, go ahead and dress it up on top. Then you can go ahead and grab your plastic rake. Work all the rubber that has been shifted outside of those high areas, work it back into the 2 foot by about 8 foot stretch here. So our mounds are about 2 feet wide, and the kids usually use about from the front all the way to about 8 feet down with their stride, some depending on the height of the player. Work all that back in. And when you dress it up on top, this is a good way in between innings. You might have that much extra rubber that gets pushed out to where you can just grab your rake in between the inning and work it back in, due to when you dressed it up on top, you had a little excess rubber left over. And then just basically dress it up the aesthetically make it look the best as you possibly can. And that's how you infill your pitcher's mound. Now, the next main area we want to focus on are our batter's boxes, starting with this left-hand side. Usually in these boxes, we're going to have two areas that we want to look at. Mainly where the batter is standing with his left foot and his right foot where they dig in. Right here, we can already tell that they're already digging. All the rubber has basically been pushed out all around these surrounding areas. You can tell with the rubber being here and over here as well. You can either take that plastic rake and work the rubber back into that area, where I recommend getting your 5-gallon bucket and getting the rubber back in there. First, go ahead and take your dog groomer or plastic rake. Let's stand those fibers up. It's going to create the rubber to fall a lot easier. Now with the front properly infilled, looking to the back, just from the visual, it's not as bad, but it definitely could use some. So we're going to do the same concept here. It's not falling very easily. Remember, once again, go and get your little dog groomer and get those rubber pellets to fall into the back. Now lastly, what you can do is you can go ahead and take the rest of your rubber that you have, kind of spread it around. That way we're getting the whole batter's box area. Just because these spots were low doesn't mean you still should not infill the whole square. Now what I'm going to do is take my plastic rake, go ahead and brush the fibers back. Now the areas that were low besides those two spots, these rubber pellets will fall into it and filling some of the areas. I do recommend you can keep it inside the white lines. It'll look a lot nicer when you're done. And once you do this for a little while, whatever leftover rubber you have, you can go ahead and just dress it up. You can keep it in there, you don't have to take it out. You can go ahead and just make it look as nice as you possibly can. That's how you infill your batter's boxes. Now we want to go ahead and concentrate on our sliding areas. First, second, and third. Today we're going to go ahead and use second base as an example. From the looks of it, you can tell how all the rubber has been pushed beyond second base. And also, when they run this way and slide into it, all the fibers will lay that direction. So what I want to do is take our plastic rake. We can go ahead. We're going to get all of our fibers standing back up so they're not facing that direction. Then you can go ahead and take the rubber that has been pushed beyond second base, and we can work it back into the sliding area. From the looks of it, go ahead and use our fingertip method here, our hands and knees. I can still tell you that from the looks right here, we're still extremely low. All around here, and pushing all the way out here too. What I like to do firstly, this will take a substantial amount of rubber to get this whole area infilled. I take my bucket. I do kind of start from the width of how wide we are, what we're needing to infill. Lay it out like that, and I will work it all from the distance of where they're starting their slide. And you can just watch how this rubber will eventually all go away, where we will not have a single pile left. And notice how when I'm infilling, if our fiberline was facing that direction, I'm going to infill against it, causing it to fold the fibers back to stand straight back up and to get it to fall a lot easier into the turf. So with that much rubber we had at the very beginning, look how much has already been worked into the fibers. Now, if it's a little easier for you, you can take your rake at this point and go ahead and use it instead. Now, I'm going to go ahead and check it again. We're still a little low through here. Over here we're sitting not too bad. I could go ahead and add a little bit more. Now remember, I dump it closest to the base, working it away. Just from that right there, you can tell it's still taking quite a bit of rubber. What you'll want to do is repeat this process until you have excess rubber on top, knowing that you have it completely filled. And that is how you do your sliding areas. Now, a recap on infilling your baseball field, we concentrated on the pitcher's mound directly in front of the rubber, and also the landing spot coming down. Also, our batter's boxes, left hand and right hand side, and catcher's box. Our sliding areas, first base, second base, and third base. Keep these key points in mind to properly infill your baseball field. Thank you.